Hello, my name is Maciek and I'm a producer in Elympics. And in Elympics, we are creating a platform for multiplayer game development with Unity SDK, backend operating, and everything you need to create a competitive game. And we started the initiative of Summer Camp to onboard new developers on our platform, to watch them learning and to see how they use our tools and to adjust them and help developers to understand what we are doing here. And this is the main reason why we are meeting today. And we'll briefly go through the entire the rules of the summer game camp, about the roadmap, what's ahead of us in the upcoming 2.5 months, and also about the milestones, the things that we'll check and we'll then give feedback about your work and what will be checked and tested by us. And then if you will still be focused and you have some questions, we'll be able to answer them. So let's go to the first step. So your game. What the game is going to be about. So first off, we recommend you to use Unity 2021.3.5 F1 or just .5. This is the version we are using, and this is the version which is used in the tutorials, the templates we are providing. And also it will be easier for us to provide support if we'll use the same version of Unity. So if you already started and it won't be a big problem for you, we recommend you to switch to this version if you haven't yet started yet. This is the version of Unity you should install. The second requirement is the game will be made on Elympics SDK, and SDK you can find on our announcements channel, the Summer Camp announcement channel, as well as on our link to it on our Olympics.cc website and website of the Summer Camp, so summercamp.olympics.cc. The SDK is free to use. It's on GitHub, so you can just download it, add it to your project. Everything is described in our video tutorials and as well as on docs.olympics.cc, so our documentation. And this is the main requirement. So the game will be online, competitive game with server authority provided by Elympics. You should make it competitive. So it should have any type of competition between players. So it can be a solo game, so game for one player, or co-op. But in this cases, you should use some kind of rivalization like leaderboards, which we are also providing. It's part of Olympics, so you can compare the score at the end of the gameplay, or it can be a classic player versus player multiplayer game, or team-based multiplayer. So I don't think it requires much of explanation. The teams can be made as you wish, so it can be equal, 2 versus 2, for example, or 3 versus 3 players, or 1 versus 3. That depends on your design, of course. But the game has to be limited to 6 players, not because of the limitations of the SDK or the Olympics itself, but we think it will be easier for you to make this game during this period of time, considering your experience in Olympics and most of the possibility to test the game for you and for us, right? So you can of course write bots that will pretend to be real players, but if you would like to test the whole experience in our team, to provide feedback and for you during the development, the 6 players, so 3 versus 3, or one player, it's from 1 to 6 players, it's required. The gameplay has to have the beginning and the end. So we are not going to make any massive multiplayer online game. The game has to be match-based, right? So you enter the match with your opponents or your friends. The game has to end in some period of time or by achieving some score, and it has to have some winners or losers, or there is a draw. There is some outcome of the game. So it's like, for example, the race, right? Racing game. So you enter the race, do 3 laps, and then when the last racer, or I don't know, 30 seconds after the first, the winner, the match ends with some results. So this is also the requirement. About the platforms, we support games on Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, also WebGL, Unity WebGL, but in this case we are not recommending it. So we prefer standalone builds on Windows, Mac, Android, and iOS. That's your call. If the game is going to be multi-platform, so for example, Windows versus Android, or iOS versus Android, or anything, Olympics is supporting it, right? So it's only your choice which platform you want to choose and which one which one you want to support. And what's also important regarding your game is that the copyrights to the game is completely yours, right? So from the very beginning, you are the author, you're the authors of the game, and you can do with the game whatever you want. You can, after the summer camp, you can sell it, you can find a publisher and do whatever you want with this game. We only would like to share some marketing rights about the game, right? So we want to show the game on our website and other promotional placements, right? So this is the only thing which we would like to participate in the regarding your game, but the game is completely yours. So of course the licensing of Olympics is a different thing. You will read more about that in docs. So if you are going to use your game commercially while it's on Olympics, it's a separate deal with pricing, with the required. It depends on the many aspects. So that we are not going to talk about more about this now. This is you can ask about it later. I'm not going to go through this here, but in general, the copyrights of the game are yours. What else is important here? Yeah, do you have any questions about that? Maybe we'll stop here so you will be up to date. We will be up to date with this section. Any questions about the requirements of the game and any other questions? No questions, or you are not, or I'm.
I would ask a question.
Yep.
We are allowed to make a player game. Why choose Olympics then?
Could you repeat?
If we are allowed to make a single game, because there are players now from 1 to 6, why are we supposed to use final product Olympics as a single player game?
There are many reasons. One of the reasons is that this is a server authoritative game, so the game is running on your machine, on your computer, phone, whatever, and on the server at the same time. So if you, as a developer, are interested in providing the high level of security of your game, that the player is not cheating. For example, if you are, because we are talking about competitive games, right? So even if you are playing solo, your score, for example, will be sent to the servers, right? And to have 100%, to be sure in 100% that you are doing and that the score was not, that you were not cheating, that the game took place at this time and you did the proper things. The server authoritative gives that a level of
Olympics is the platform to create. Hi everyone. So to answer the question again, Olympics is a platform to create competitive games, regardless of whether it's single or multiplayer. And we have templates and we have games that are built and deployed that are single player, that are yet competitive with leaderboards and with real life rewards. And we have clients that host those kinds of games with us as well. The idea is, as Maciek mentioned, so each game is run in the cloud at the same time in parallel with server authority at the same time as it's run on the client. And Olympics is the tool that allows you to do that far more easily than would have been otherwise. And you can use that for securing single players or to create a multiplayer experience.
That's interesting. Your answer.
Yep.
Excuse me, because I can hear you quite well. So could you repeat? Is that completely clear, or do you have any other questions maybe?
I think the answer was that it was the answer was understood. Everything is clear. Thank you.
Clear.
Okay, and also doing even a single player game, which is already made on Olympics, you can easily add multiplayer modes to this game, which will be much easier than if you would just do the single player game standard way and then wake up some morning and decide to add multiplayer mode. So in this case, this is important. And we have another question. Hello.
Hello, I've got a very quick question. I would like to ask if this version of Unity is very necessary to use, or is it like very crucial, or we can use whatever version?
You can use whatever version you want. Based it's 2021, I think is the minimum supported version. However, this particular one is the one that we use and we have installed. So if you should require some support, then it would be easiest for us to launch the game and to provide feedback.
Okay, so we can use any higher version, but no older than.
Yeah, the feedback could become more troublesome, but yes, you can use any version that is higher.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Also, because I wasn't very clear about the last part with Olympics, which is free to use. It is free to use during the summer camp, and it's free to use for every developer for one single game at the time, right? So if you will launch a game, the Olympics will start to be paid, right? But for the development stage, that doesn't matter if it's during the summer camp or not. It's free to use. But if you have more questions about that, we can talk about it later. All right. So okay, another question. Hello.
So actually, I have one more question. There was a question earlier on a text channel about using AI-generated art, and based on the response, I just wanted to clarify that because technically it's a gray legal area as for now about the commercial use of those. But in terms of using strictly AI-generated art for the sake of this jam, is it acceptable? Is it prohibited? What is the stance on this?
Well, I think it is allowed to use that kind of third party, any kind of third party. Yeah,
it's completely up to you. We're not monetizing the game or deploying it commercially. So if you want to deploy the game as it's mentioned here, copyright yours for what you create. So if you want to use that commercially later, then it's your responsibility, basically. We don't care.
All right, sweet. Thank you.
Okay. So, if I may, I will go to the second point of our presentation, so the roadmap. If you haven't been already familiar with the roadmap, it's the same schedule as it's on summer camps website. So if it looks familiar to you, that's maybe because you've already read it, but I will go from point to point here just to maybe extend the meaning of every of these points. So today we have July 7th is our onboarding, our presentation and technical Q&A. But what is important, you can start whatever you want, right? So you can start working already if you have some Olympics-based game that you started to make a few days ago. It's okay. You don't have to start right now. Also, if you still don't have enough teammates to start working and you want to wait a bit longer for start next week or something like that, it is also allowed. The most important thing is that on July 26th, there is a first milestone, so you have to submit your online multiplayer prototype gameplay build that we can test. We can check if you're actually working on the game, right? We will not interfere in your process until then, right? In your development process, so you can do whatever you want. I will later tell about things we can do before the 26th, but in general, the starting date is up to you, whatever you want. On July 26th, you will have to submit your build. We will send a submission form. On Discord, you will have upload the build on some Google Drive, or probably we'll just make some folder on Google Drive, or you will have to upload the build, and we'll be able to test it. Also, we'll need some few words about the game, some extended README file with a short description, what's the game about, and what are you planning to do with the game in upcoming weeks. So we'll write everything, all the requirements later. So I'm just giving you a heads up that it will be required. I will say more about the requirements for the first milestone in a minute, and they will be the same. And after we'll check the game, we'll do short QA and playtest the game. We'll write down some feedback, and then we'll meet on Discord and talk about your game and provide feedback for it during the feedback session. And also I will go and provide some more info about the feedback sessions in a few slides in the future. On August 16th and September 6th, there will be also the next milestones, so the scope of the game will grow until then. And on September 17th, there will be the final submissions. So that's basically the moment where you do your gold master, right? This is the moment where you submit the game, but we'll have a week to certificate it. So we'll do the QA of the game, quality assurance, functional testing, and provide some. There will be some time for you to fix some crucial major bugs, crashes, and so on. So there will be still some small time buffer to adjust the game, but will not accept any new features or new stuff after this. This will be only to help you to clean up the game with some major bugs. And then on 25th, there will be no turn back. So the final contest will start. So the games will be published on itch.io, and there will be public voting on the games. Plus, it will be 50% of the votes of the score will be by the community, and the 50% will be in hands of the jury. And the jury will be not us, but the people from the gaming industry, mostly Polish gaming industry, our friends from game dev, but also we'll invite some people from abroad. That the list of the jury will be extending, and we'll be introducing the jury in upcoming weeks. And so it will take almost a week, and then the final results will be published. And if your game will be on top, you'll get extra prizes. Of course, everyone who will pass the certification, so every team that will go through the 3 milestones and pass the last milestone will get the guaranteed prize, so $600 in cash or bank transfer, right? And $600 for in Olympics credits. So it will be money for you to, for example, soft launch game, right? So if you have more players, more games, you won't have to pay for for hosting. So this is some money for a good start of your game. And of course the rest, the special prizes from sponsors after the final contest. So this is one of the rewards, except the knowledge, experience, and certificates for game devs, which we will also provide. We'll say more about the certification process later, but it won't be anything very difficult and very stressful. We also count that on you, and that most or even all of the games will pass the certification. It's not. It is also in our interest, so we'll do everything to help you to do it. So we want to you to have fun and so on. So don't be stressed about that. It will be fun. Okay, so this is that's all about the timeline. We'll provide more info about each of the steps few weeks or days before each, so you will be prepared for everything. But are there any questions regarding the roadmap? Okay, there is one question. Come on. Yeah, I think I understand what you're asking about. So there will be requiring people to do the matchmaking for themselves, right? So gather people and do some testing, and this is something that will be some tips and help from us will be provided. So we're going to make some playtesting events if that will help. I mean, we have some ideas about that, so I think you shouldn't be worried about that. We'll also do some promotional actions, right? Some marketing to gather people around those games. So we'll do also some boost for the players to play test those games. All right. So it will be in 2 months. So don't worry. We'll have some ready solutions for that. The most important is to make a good game. The rest is in our hands. Milestones. So the first milestone let me check. Is it? It's on 26th, right? So it's 2.5 weeks from now. Excuse me, I have lost the screen. Give me a second. All right. So first off, the thing which will be under our and that will require for you to make it will be provide the gameplay prototype. There's a question. Will be locked up to the 2 test users. The free tier of Olympics providing during this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought anyone than 2 players required payment.
No, it doesn't. As Marcus said. So let me reiterate on the pricing. Olympics is the SDK is open source and free to use. You can use it and launch the game in the Unity editor, using debug mode and using half remote mode, so running your server locally. You can also launch the server in the cloud, and it's free to launch one concurrent server in the cloud, regardless on which plan you're on. So you can use even premium game server. If you're using only one concurrently, then it's free. And it's meant to be free for development time. And once you want to launch the game live, then you start paying for the game servers with a few cents per minute of playtime, like half a cent for the basic tier and up to 3 cents with premium.
So during
it's
the
based on minutes of games after the game is launched into production. We won't charge you during summer camp for anything that you do regardless. Does that answer your question?
Okay, so yeah. All right. So also, if you have any questions, you can always ask the questions on our Discord, right? So if it's beyond the presentation or just you don't have we will not have the time have time to answer all the questions, you can always ask them later on Discord. So basically, they're a gameplay prototype with a basic core loop of the game. So the gameplay launches, the players can join and implement the game as implemented win conditions. So we know who won or what was the final score of the game, and there is some outcome. So I can see that I lost or won, or there was a draw, or it was some I achieved some score, right? So this is what we understand with basic core loop of the game. So you don't have to do any extra modes or map selections and so on. Just entering the game, we can match, we can join the game, 1 or up to 6 players at the same time. We can play a single match, single gameplay session, and at the end we'll know what was the result of the game, depending on your on your design, right? Is it for like in football, or is it score so the places from 1 to 6 like in racing game, or is it like a scoreboard like in some shooter game? So the player with the highest number of frag kills wins, and so on. So this is up to you. But this is something we require, so we can understand what's the game about, what is the outcome of the gameplay. The build will run, of course. So you have to provide some build on Windows, Mac, Android, or iOS. And of course, the game will be working on Olympics, so we will not accept a single-player game which is a single-player game. It has to be server-authoritative game on Olympics. So and it must be playable. So that it doesn't. It shouldn't have. It mustn't have any crucial bugs. It shouldn't crash right on the very beginning. It should contain basic gameplay, minimum scope of art, so it can be done with so-called programmer art, right? So it doesn't have to be made with the final assets, but it has to be understandable what I can do in the game, right? What's the goal of the game? So some basic interface like health points, if the game has health points, right? Or the if it's a racing game, I have to know which place I am currently, and so on. So some very basic prototype level UI, and of course all the controls which you are going to use in the final game should be also added, of course with limited scope of features, right? So if the game will have, like, for example, 10 different weapons, the prototype is just 1 or 2 weapons, right? So it will not ask you to do the whole scope in first 2 weeks, of course, just the basic prototype of the game, so that we'll know that you are understanding what you are doing, that you are using the basic features of Olympics, that you are, what's the idea for the game, and what's your thoughts about the further development of the game. We'll also ask you to prepare some how to play guide and gameplay rules, so we'll know whatever is not 100% understandable from the prototype we will provide. Just write it down in some text file, so we'll understand what you are doing, what's the idea for the game, and what are the controls, etc. Yeah, basically it. What it doesn't need to include, so advanced game art, animations, some very everything that you don't have time to do in such a short period of time. So it has to be, as I said, a basic prototype and everything. If there are 2 players, it would be nice to understand which is under our command and which is an opponent. So this kind of art is required, so we can understand who is an enemy and who is our friend or something like that. But we don't require you to create some very artistic vision yet. But it would be nice if you will have some visual feedbacks about the interactions between players and so on. But it is not required at this moment. Also, the sounds, required music, and so on, it can be added later, and every other user interface, like main menu options or some complex in-game UI with extended heads-up display and so on. Only absolute minimum is enough, and it is up to you what you are going to present. And of course, it depends much from the genre of the game you will choose, and so on. So we just will rate the level of understanding of the game. So if the game is very, very messy and the gameplay is totally not understandable, we'll provide a feedback and ask you to fix a few things. But if it will be totally not playable and the game will crash and so on, probably we'll just won't accept that kind of work, right? So we just require very basic minimum, but working and playable gameplay. So on Wednesday, 26th of July by noon, you must send us the build, and we'll provide every information for you to send the build and share the information about your game. And then on Friday and Saturday, for the people who will be not able to join the feedback session on Friday, we'll schedule the feedback sessions for every team. You'll talk with us for about an hour about your game. We'll ask questions. You can ask questions. we'll talk about what's good, what has to be fixed. Also, if you struggle with some technical aspects of Unity or Olympics SDK or both or anything else, we will be able to help you. Of course, any questions about that will be available to answer. Will be available to answer your questions before that on Discord, but this is the time only for you and for your game. And after the weekends, we'll also send everything, some notes from the feedback sessions on Monday, so you'll be able to familiarize more the feedback. And the feedback sessions, how it will, I already said a few things about that. So yeah, before that, if you already have idea about the game you're going to make, the sooner you describe the idea and write down few sentences or screenshots of some game you are going to make, like similar game, reference game, we'll be able to provide some feedback at the first step, right? So for example, look out for this, or maybe think about doing something different, right? If we'll see from the very beginning that this is very, very tricky, and it will be very tricky. So we will ask you to send us some info before. Of course, if you don't want, you don't have to, but maybe you will just get this info on during the feedback session, but it would be for both for you as developers and for us. It would be nice if we would know something more about your game you're planning to do before the first milestone. And as I said, the feedback session will take place on Discord. We'll schedule the meetings, and we'll do the voice call with screen sharing on Discord, and then send comments and send text or graphic feedback later. Any questions about the milestones and feedbacks from you guys? All right. You can also ask questions on Discord later. Team building and communication. So first off, we have this fancy team building channel on Discord, and it is meant for you to post your ads that you are looking for someone, or you are looking for a team. If there is someone completely without team and would like to match with someone, you can write down your ad there with some basic info about your skill set, experience, and maybe what you're looking for. I mean, what kind of game you would like to do or something like that. Also, if you already have few people, but not more than 6, and looking for, because 6 is the limit of the team. If you were looking for example, graphic artist or additional programmer or a game designer or someone who will do some voice acting or anything, it is the proper place to do that. Also, you can just write down on the open all channel if you're looking for something specific, but we recommend to use the team building channel. Also, I think after this presentation we can just do the open microphone. So if you are looking for someone, you can also make a short speech or ask a question also on this chat to give info for other participants. If you will not be able to find any team next week, we'll try to help you somehow, but we have limited options. But surely we want you all to find a team. So if you are looking for someone, we'll be trying to help you next week or during the weekend if it's possible. But feel free to use the team building channel. Also, I would like to ask, and I'll write it down on Discord, every team that is already set, right, completed, or maybe you are just looking for some 1 or 2 additional team members, but you are already formed, you have some basic idea about the game you're going to do, maybe you have a team name. Please give me the info on private channel or on the Olympics, the summer camp all channel with your team name and some person to contact with, and I will create a private channel for you, and this will be a channel to communicate between the team and the Olympics team. It will be mostly for you sending us the info about your game and your progress. So we'll be able to answer your questions. Most of the questions, the technical questions, should be done on the Summer Camp Tech support and all channel. But because if we'll answer some question to you, it probably would also regard any other team, right? So we'd like to do as much of the communication on open channels, so everyone will see the answer, so we will not have to answer the same questions over and over. So this is that will be helpful for you, so everyone else will also see the answer and will be able to tackle the problem on their own, right, without asking those questions. So this is the Summer Camp Tech support channel. It is a forum channel, so you can add new messages there, and everyone will see also the answers and the solutions of your problems. But every team will have also a private channel to communicate with us on some specific on topics specific to your game. Are there any questions about the team building or the tech support or any other question? All right. So I have 3 options for now. What we can do first is the question for anyone in Olympics team. Do you want to? Who is available here? I can see that we have at least 1 or 2 people. Anything to add? from the Olympics team? Do you have any additional knowledge to pass? If not, I will ask now all the participants: is there anyone without a team and would like to say a few words about him or herself? Maybe it is a good moment to find a team. Or any of you is looking for someone. So I understand that everyone here already had a team. If not, and if you're shy and just don't want to talk right now, you can use the Summer Camp team building channel. And the last question is there someone or some team who already have some idea about the game and would like to say a few words about the idea you're going to do during the summer camp? And maybe we can talk shortly about the idea. No one? You don't have ideas, or you are not willing to talk right now? Or you have some technical issues and don't know how to start talking? I don't know. Maybe this stage channel.
Just speaking from experience, we know what games are challenging. So if you have an idea for a multiplayer game that you think is going to work, we can provide some feedback on how to make it easier for you. Probably, because there are some ideas that are completely undoable within this time frame. So that's why we're asking. If you want to get feedback for your idea beforehand, then go ahead and ask right now or later on Discord. Also, we'll be doing a tech introduction that is meant to show you around in Olympics very shortly, very briefly, just to give you the most basic ideas and to leave you with links to follow and videos to watch later to learn more, obviously. But we'll be doing that early next week.
All right, so more technical info is also, we are thinking that the technical presentation will be more efficient if we'll do it after a few days or few hours of your experience with Olympics, right? So you already have some basic knowledge about the tool and first questions we can answer, right? So that's why we're doing it after the weekend. So if you are planning to do some first coding session this weekend, it would be super, because the next week we will be able to talk about some more detailed knowledge, using also your first experiences with Olympics. And also the thing we can say very loudly is to start doing the game from the first day on Olympics. Don't try to add Olympics later, because it won't happen, because it is required to start designing inputs and everything with Olympics already, and test your game online as soon as possible. So because this is the natural environment of the game, so if you will test in some other Olympics modes. Some of the things you're doing may only start working in the final way in online mode. So this is an important thing, and of course we strongly recommend you to watch the basics series on YouTube, all the tutorials that Yannick, our developer, was recording, and also the course, so you'll be more familiar with the principles of Olympics. All right, so this is everything from me. Oh, there is a question from the crowd.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hello.
So I already have an idea for my game. Like I had this idea for a while now, and then when I saw that this summer camp, I thought that it's a really good opportunity to put it in practice. Basically, I really like the game's rounds. If you know it from Steam, it's like a simple game where there are up to 4 people, and it's 2D. It starts with a gun, and at the end of each round, because there's a winner, right? When it kills all the other players, you have some upgrades that you can.
What's the name of the game again?
Rounds.
Rounds. Okay, thanks.
All right, and yeah, basically the winner doesn't get to pick any upgrades, but the one that lost can pick upgrades, and you basically do a build, and then I don't know, it's really fun because the upgrades are really interesting. And I'm thinking of kind of the same idea, but in like 3D, and with different. I don't know. It's going to be a shooter, but being in 3D, I can bring more different things, because in 2D you are always going to see where the other players are, but in 3D it's not the case. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
All right, this is interesting. Is this game?
Yeah, exactly. It's like this is the game that I'm talking about. So kind of in this style, but in 3D. And I was thinking about also how to, like in rounds, only the winner doesn't get to pick up card at the end of each battle. But I was thinking about other strategies, like for example in TFT or games like that, where the player with the least HP is going to pick up first, but the others also get to pick upgrades, for example. I'm going to have to brainstorm over those ideas.
Okay, do you have a team to do it, or are you planning to do it on your own?
I'm planning to do it on my own because I can find the assets for this type of game.
Okay,
as long as you keep the number of synchronized state low, so if you only have player position, and if you, let's say for example, if you're going to do projectiles, then I think you should be fine.
Yes, and
also you can use a template that, I don't know, did Maciek mention templates? We have some open source templates of games that you can use.
I'm going to check some of them out to see. Maybe if I'm not going to use them, at least get inspired from them. And also, I have a question. The game that's going to run on the server, do we have to do a different build, like without graphics or something like that? Or it's just going to be exactly the same version as for the players?
You mean the server bit, right? That doesn't have to be any changes in the build.
But could we provide, I don't know, because if, for example, in this case, the graphic is not going to be very heavily, but the server wouldn't really need the graphics, right? It would only need the collision and stuff so that it's running faster or it's not using as many resources.
Sorry, what was the question?
If for the server is going to run exactly the same build, or we can provide a build that has like the graphics disabled or something like that, so it only runs with, because we only care about the physics from the server.
Yeah, of course. So it's a dedicated build for the server side, and it's not running graphics.
Yes, so
And
we can.
So you don't upload the build that is already done. It's preparing Olympic pipeline, preparing a build. So once you click, when you have the SDK downloaded, you press the button build for the cloud, and it builds a server version of the game that does not include graphics, and it uploads it automatically.
Oh, I see. Very nice. Okay.
So you don't have to prepare a special build for server. Olympics is doing its own.
Well, you do. You do have to press.
Yeah, I
build and
mean,
upload.
yeah, but you doesn't have to like cut off the graphics or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I think that's all for now for me.
Okay, very cool.
Thank you for the information.
Okay, there is a question on the chat. Can someone new join who hasn't been on Steam or Discord yet, for example, next day? Yes, of course. You can invite people also using the same link you've got on while filling the form or on the email. So everyone is welcomed, and if you would like even to find someone in August or even September, but it's still under the 6 people limit, it's fine for us, right? So if you can start working alone and get some additional member in week 2 or month or 2. It's not a problem. Of course, while we will do the certification, it would be nice if the developer will be actually working on the game, right? So we'll not give the certificate to someone who is not participating in the development process. We'll do some short questionnaire for every developer who would like to get official certificate from us. So you will be able to use it as a professional certificate, and also it will be your pass to for us to find some occupation for you, because we have many partners, many game dev studios or sponsors or publishers who are looking for developers trained in multiplayer game development. So this certificate will be also available for you. But regarding the summer camp, you can invite someone, and anyone can join at any time. Just the game and the milestones is the most important regarding the rules, but the participation and people who are working on the project, it's up to you how you will organize yourself, your work, and so on, and how much time you will spend on development. Are there any more questions? Is he a candidate for having to know? Okay. So this is, I hope I already answered this question. And we have...
Yeah, one more question.
Yeah, hello. I would also like to share our idea for the game. The concept is really rough because we came up with it literally like 2 hours before our meeting today. But that's why we would like to
Perfect
share
timing,
and check if the idea is cool. So basically, we would like to make an FPS game, which would be like on the closed area, multi-layered. So you players would have to jump between different layers. So and we are like thinking about really dynamic game. And players would play as wizards, who instead of shooting guns would cast spells at each other. And
Brilliant idea.
and to cast the spell, it's not just by pressing shoot button, but you literally really have to like draw with your mouse a special like sign on the screen to cast special spell. And we are planning, for example, a few spells, maybe just to including elementals, but we are not sure yet. And we also thinking about having some special power ups spread across the arena, so people like players could run, grab them, so they it would make them think about what's going on the battlefield, not only about shooting. And one really, in our opinion, fun idea is that after player like dropping to 0 HP, instead of dying right away, they are being turned into the frog. So they have opportunity to run, escape, and, for example, get to special area or find special potion to get back to life.
Okay, that's interesting. I would turn much attention on input synchronizing. So the casting the spells you've mentioned. I'm not a programmer. I don't know how to do it properly, but this is something I think that will be important to synchronize well those inputs. But yeah, I think it's totally doable and sounds interesting. And why I laughed when you said about this FPS game, but with spells, it's because we've already done some game FPS. It is our showcase game. We made to test and check and also show what Elympics is capable of. So Spells Arena, this is the game you can also check out. It's on itch.io. It's free, just one level, classic arena shooter, but with casting spells instead of putting rocket launcher or shotgun.
Okay.
Yeah, technically it's doable. Regarding the game design, I'd consider, like, because usually in FPS games you use the mouse to aim, and if you're gonna draw a spell using the mouse, then you have to consider how players are gonna aim, and if it's gonna be distracting to draw the spell and aim it at the same time.
Yeah,
But if you figure that out, then I think you're good.
We got one idea which would involve like when you are running and shooting, and the mouse would work normally. But if you want to draw the sign, for example, you have to hold your right mouse button, and then moving your mouse wouldn't affect the direction in which your player in the character is facing. So maybe that would solve the problem.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. We'd have to test it out, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we are running out of time, so
yeah, I have to go, so I'll have to leave you, Maciek.
Okay, so if you have any additional questions, feel free to ask them on Olympics Summer Camp all channel, or if you're looking for a teammate, there is also a specific channel for that. And also, if you have some technical questions, write them on Summer Camp Tech Support channel. And thank you very much, and have a nice evening. Have a nice weekend and have a nice summer camp and with game development. And see you later. Thank you very much, you all, for participating and starting this adventure with us. And we're going to have a lot of fun together.